Didn't you know I'm bringing change and the change is worth it? I knew I was here for a greater purpose. Over the years I become determined. Dropped a single with Zap, you know I'm working. To me my mind is heavy creative. Some songs sound like heaven created. Other people can go and say they hate it. It don't matter cause somebody tell them that I'm his favorite. Artists out my generation. Like we got a lot to choose from. This year I got a lot to win. And honestly, I don't plan to lose none. I'ma just have to prove it. Influence people with the music. Wish you were still here to see me do it. But time goes on and you just gotta keep it moving. 2 cents.
Moe BEATs from Razdabar Sound Management. What I think a lot of the major things when it comes to independent artists here in Dayton, just my view on it. I've been part of a lot of sessions over the last lot of years. We'll say that that people are they tend to be a little short-sighted or even narrow with their vision. I think that the pioneers of the scene around in the Dayton area, they were young, they were talented. There was a record industry that was out there that were still developing young talent, and they had a sound, and they didn't care about what else anybody else sounded like. They wanted to do their own. They wanted to use their own voice. They wanted to be heard in the way they wanted to be heard. So they were young. I've said young a few times because they made some mistakes when they were young, because fame, fortune, all the things that go with the entertainment business, they came in bunches and they weren't ready for it. I mean, some of my mentors are the people that were in the funk bands, and they tell me straight up, we blew it. We made a lot of money, we made a lot of music, but we had no control over our music. We had no control over ourselves because we were getting it and spending it at the same speed. A lot of those groups didn't have multiple albums. They had a couple, and they're done. And then they went off, and because of the nature of what they were going through when they were young, and maybe their parents or maybe their peer group at the time didn't kind of steer them into a lane where they could stay a little more solid over the years, they end up having kids and they blew it. So those kids didn't have the structure, and now the children of those people are the R&B artists and a lot of the hip hop artists of today. Some of them are grandparents, so there's another generation outside that happened after that. Um, those core values, about success, about being able to track your progress, of being able to own your music and your name and your publishing. Even one of my mentors, Keith Harrison, his publishing for his band Phaso, after 30 years of being out, it finally reverts back to them next October, so they can finally get a check. This is words out of his mouth. They can finally get a check from their songs that they made 30 years ago. And some of them are in bad health. Some of those funksters aren't here anymore. But that's a sad situation when you have music that's out there in elevators, in movies, being sampled by different artists and stuff like that. And you can get a little bit of something from it, but you don't really control publishing, which is your copyrights. You don't control that stuff. So basically, it's like sending your child outside with no coat on and no hat on in the middle of winter and expect them to find their way home. It's not going to happen. It's just kind of ridiculous. So I think that that's been contagious around in this generation or the last couple of generations of people that are talented. They have a strong interest. They have an ability that's unheard of. But their sight, their vision is either narrow or small, so that they don't understand that it's a lot bigger than being VIP at the club. It's a lot bigger than just getting your hand, your hand held high, or somebody giving you hugs or whatever. No, it's about making a living. If you really want to be successful in the music business, you have to think about you as the product and you being an entrepreneur. That's the main thing. I mean, you have to work for yourself. If you're trying to get a job, there's some jobs out there. I mean, the economy ain't terrible. You can go and do something for somebody else. But if you want to do it for yourself and take care of the business that you say you do, when you're, especially all y'all rappers just talk about handling business, you ain't handling business until you run one. Period. At all. So that's, I mean, it's really not a dare, but it's just the truth. So a lot of times people don't have those, they don't have that kind of vision in front of them, you know, and they won't take the steps to make sure that they not only control their immediate future, but their long distance future, and then be able to pass it down to someone, whether it be their kids or their family members or people that grew up in their neighborhood or whatnot, or inspire someone else to do that may not even know them, to do what they've done or improve on what they've done. You know what I mean? It's like, why are you taking these steps if you can't track where you've been? It's just ridiculous, you know. And I can tell you straight up that I can look back across my career and being very fortunate, and I do thank God for that. That there are some movements that I've been a part of. There are a lot of artists that I've worked with. There are a lot of records that are on the walls in this studio. That I know that at least that part I've been helpful in, and try to give them the knowledge that I can, try to steer them clear from other people's mistakes, and and just help them do it. But I mean, it's possible because I'm from Dayton, born and raised, Dayton Public Schools and the whole get up, and I didn't become a professional till '96, so I got some age on me, so it was a little while before I even figured it out. But the whole deal is, like, since then, I've been able to feed myself, my family, and everything that I own comes from doing music. So it's not like it's impossible. And I do not have a 4-year degree in college. You know what I mean? But I do have a lot of knowledge, and I do have take value in other people and write things down and hold a certain level of competence every single day, and I want to be professional. That's the thing. I mean, those steps, those concepts, you'll say, that's what is going to make you successful in every business. It's not just the music business, but period. I mean, being on time and being responsible for it. It's not someone else's fault, it's your fault. If you want to get your hand raised, you have to be the one that does the work. You know what I mean? If you want to get the check at the end of the day, you have to do the work. And sometimes the check might come in 2 weeks. Sometimes it might come the next day. It might be cash right in your hand. But if you're not ready for it, it's not going to make a difference because it will just blow in the wind. That's kind of my take on the whole deal. I think that artists and musicians, they'll take the short, quick money, like the dope boy, that takes a lot of risk, not thinking about the long haul, which could be, I don't know, an empire. It just happens to be a popular show these days. It could be, a legacy, which is even longer than an empire, because that could be generations of folks that you can get. But if you don't have any positive or at least a plan of action that someone can document even or pick it up where you left off, if you don't, obtain your goals, how do you pass the baton if you know what I mean? If it's just all over the place, you can't follow your steps. Whether it be your children or people that are around you. So a lot of times I think that's the one of the main issues is that focus is on the wrong kinds of things. If you're trying to make a business, trying to make some money, trying to have some solid things that you can that are worth some things, not only concepts, but also physical items that may, I don't know, pay for themselves, like some of the stuff that's sitting behind me. Buy it once and it pays you forever. Doesn't sound bad. if you want to have those things, you're going to have a plan. You're going to have some be dedicated and make sure that you do your at least do try to do the right things with it. And as soon as you start getting around folks that want to hold you back and want to steer you out of your vision, if it feels wrong, then don't do it. If it feels crazy, like, man, you know what, there's a need for this, try it, because you never know, it may work. So anyhow, this is Moe BEATs, Razdabar Sound Management. Hopefully that you've enjoyed my 2 cents on it, the business, the independence, and hopefully you've gained some motivation from it all. Peace, my 2 cents.